like my food to be fresh, seasonal, organic if possible. I suppose initially kind of for a health thing, because I've had a brush with cancer, so it just makes you more mindful of what you're putting into your body. I started thinking of the one and only thing I had control over was what I was eating or what I was putting on myself. So I started looking at fresh vegetables and, if we can get it organic, so much the better. When I had fresh stuff, I realised that the flavour was there. Because what I was eating before from supermarkets and things, it just bland, and you forget what good food really tastes like. Once again, I'm beginning to remember what things tasted like when I was a child. You see in the middle of winter, suddenly you'll see these bright shiny plums or bright shiny nectarines, that have come over all the way from the United States of America. Well, they've been picked far too early. People want everything now, all of the time, and it's not necessary because you don't appreciate something if you have it all of the time. But if you can look forward to something each season, well, that makes it special and so much more enjoyable. You hear now that things are sprayed so many times, like somebody told me that kiwi fruit is sprayed 18 times or something in its livelihood, so that's why of anything I try and make sure that kiwi fruit is organic. I'm very conscious of fruit, and I think if you have the fruit in its right season, well, it's going to taste its best. I've probably adopted this approach for about just over 3 years, because that kind of coincided when I had a little brush with the big C. Had lots of time to think. And with that, of course, I decided that I wasn't going to work full-time anymore, so I had a little bit more time at home, because it's time-consuming growing your own stuff. I can see in the old days why the husband used to look after the vegetable garden while the mother looked after the flower garden, because vegetable gardens are really labour intensive, I've discovered, so it kind of takes a lot of time to look after it. And if you're doing things like working full-time, looking after a family, trying to play some sport, it can be pretty hard to find that time to go and tend to your vegetables. It's not sort of 5 minutes at the end of every day. So the rest of the garden doesn't get quite the TLC that it used to, but at least I feel my priorities are probably in the right place. Greens would be one of my favourite crops to grow, because you can almost not have enough of it, especially for us, because we live in a little section that's 450 square metres, and most of that is house. So, I haven't got a huge area that I can have for a vegetable garden, though you have to learn to sort of grow things in a cycle quickly and not have too much of anything at the one time, so that you can keep that turnover going. That, I think, is one of the hardest things in gardening, is just to get the correct quantities going at any one time. All the time you're coming across different things by reading recipe books, especially sort of modern ones, the latest ones. They use all sorts of things, and you sort of think, oh, what that's like and how hard that is to grow. So, you can look up catalogues like from King Seeds and things, but oh yeah, look, you can get the seeds for that. And a lot of my vegetables I grow right from seed. One of the things I enjoyed this year growing is sweet corn, and that was very experimental. We're eating our first cobs, and they're not big, but they're really sweet and fresh, and pick them, go out and pick them, and a quarter of an hour later, I've got them on our plate and eating them. So it's really, really nice to have that freshness. It's pretty hard to say I've got a favourite meal, because usually our meals revolve around what is currently available in the garden. Now, sometimes, because I haven't got the continuity going as perfectly as I would like, sometimes it's slim picking, so but you can get quite adept at putting something together with slim pickings. We both enjoy heaps of vegetables if we can get them, so we love things like frittata, or as My man Rob calls it Hakuna Matata because he can never remember frittata. But we like frittata because you can put all manner of vegetables in there, and it's really just all bound together with egg, and it's lovely, especially when it's all nice and fresh. I like really cooking from scratch with stock. I have all the vegetables on hand, and pretty much most of all I make vegetable stock. And of course that makes the basis for your soup. So all my soups, I wouldn't think ever of buying soup out of a tin or out of a can, because the soups you make yourself are just far more flavoursome, and they haven't got all those preservatives and goodness knows what else, numbers and figures and everything. And even bread I like to make from scratch. I have got a bread maker, but I love dabbling with different flours and different grains. I've experimented making gluten-free breads, and I make another nice loaf out of 50-50 rye and spelt flour, so that makes a really nice loaf. Far better, I think, than all this fluffy stuff that you buy from the supermarket that for some reason seems to be able to last for days and weeks without going stale, so heaven knows what they put in it. It's the one thing you've got control of is what goes into your body, and most of the time what goes on your body. So if you're really conscious of those two things, you're probably doing the best you can for your own body, and you're only given one. The rest of it is just in the lap of the gods. There's no telling that what I'm doing is going to greatly affect or improve my health anyway. And as time's gone on and I am growing my own stuff, I think even more than for my health's sake, I'm conscious of flavour. You get very discerning with flavour, and to go back to bland stuff on a supermarket shelf, you just couldn't do that again. So don't grow your own stuff.